We need to bring back shame. That's my opinion.
Well, they have none.
It's
not going to work. You can't bring back shame to lizard people.
Yeah.
Before we get into that stuff, I want to say this real quick.
Okay.
Is that camera on me?
Because you could just go on podcasts and talk about it.
Not if I'm dead. I could talk about it till I'm dead.
Yes.
They can do that?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. And
how much can you tell us?
Increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment.
1. Government layers conspiracy. Joe Rogan never shies away from the wildest conspiracy theories, and this one, it's a doozy. In episode 22-189, he and Sam Tripoli dive into government connections, CIA schemes, and even unexpected family ties. The kicker? Obama and Bush are distant cousins through John Hinckley Jr.'s family, the guy who tried to assassinate Reagan. It gets weirder when you learn the Bushes had dinner with Hinckley's family the night before the shooting. Tripoli even hints at CIA mind control, MK Ultra vibes, anyone? And layers of intelligence meddling in events like the Malcolm X and John Lennon assassinations. Is it all a lizard people level stretch, or is something deeper lurking?
Did you see this thing that the Biden administration pushed through? This new martial law thing?
What are they expecting?
525.
Giving the Pentagon power for the first time in history to use lethal force to kill Americans on U.S. soil who protest government policy. That is a terrifying thing to push through for the first time in U.S. history.
That's crazy, too. And it's interesting because, you know, with the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act and stuff like that, we need to bring back shame. That's my opinion.
Well, they have none.
It's
not going to work. You can't bring back shame to lizard people.
Yeah, just manipulate energy in your mind and all that stuff to get you to believe certain things.
2. Operation Highjump. Joe Rogan and Sam Tripoli dive into mind-blowing territory in episode 1852, exploring Operation Highjump, Nazi UFOs, and Klaus Schwab's family ties. Tripoli starts by linking Schwab's dad to New Swabia, a Nazi-claimed area in Antarctica. Then, the conversation shifts to Admiral Richard Byrd, who led a massive U.S. military fleet to Antarctica after World War II. Tripoli claims Byrd encountered Nazi UFOs. Yes, aliens allegedly partnered with Nazis, sharing advanced tech. Things escalate when Sam mentions Eisenhower supposedly striking deals with aliens, allowing human experiments in national forests. Tie that to missing persons maps overlapping with cave systems, and Tripoli suggests this is less about power and more about a spiritual war.
Have you ever heard of Operation Highjump?
What does that mean?
The U.S. government's like, something's going on with Antarctica. There's some activity up there. We want to find out what's going on. So they send this cat named Admiral Byrd.
And was this?
Either around World War II or right after it. Basically met with UFOs, Nazi UFOs.
The Nazis had a flying saucer.
Had made a deal, basically, working with the greatest story ever, bro.
3. Bohemian Groves. In episode 1530, Joe Rogan and Duncan Trussell dive into the eerie world of Bohemian Grove and the political elites. Rogan begins by praising Alex Jones for sneaking into the infamous retreat, capturing video of former presidents like Reagan and George H.W. Bush dressed in robes, worshipping an owl god, and burning an effigy. Rogan describes the bizarre ritual and notes that even CIA-published documents confirm the Grove's questionable activities, including solicitation of body workers.
Like, I remember he was telling me that there's governments using chemicals that turn frogs gay. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Some of the stuff is real.
Take what's real and throw out the rest.
There's a good chunk of it that's real. And I'm like, that can't be real. No, there really is.
Is that true?
Yes, there's pesticides that change frogs' genders. It's a pesticide that has some sort of an effect, an unintended effect on frogs' genders.
Friends at the Bohemian Grove. Future friends, I should say. I just want you to know, I don't know much about you. I know Alex Jones. So you had an infiltrator. Look, I went to a summer camp. We had bonfires, you know, probably on vodka drinks.
I don't think he was then. I think he was sober.
I won't tell anybody anything. I've heard you guys are pretty awesome. I've also heard you have a tram that connects campsites there to other campsites, meaning you just get in the tram and suddenly you're hanging out with, I got a podcast, I won't even tell Joe. Let me in. I'll worship Moloch. What's wrong with worshiping?
Nothing.
This is
You're
the
getting
thing.
so excited.
This is the thing that I get confused about here.
Okay.
4. Operation Paperclip. In episode 1255, Alex Jones takes Joe Rogan deep into the history of Operation Paperclip, where Nazi scientists were secretly brought to the U.S. after World War II to fuel programs like NASA and the CIA. Jones claims there were far more than the official 1,200 to 1,500 scientists, potentially over 34,000 integrated into government systems, citing revelations from 1970s congressional hearings. According to Jones, these scientists didn't just work for America, but were also sent to Russia, shaping Cold War advancements like the Soviet space shuttle. He explains how British intelligence merged with the U.S., creating a global elite-driven system.
Fascinating that they brought those people over here, and that's where the space program came from.
Well, that's why I wore the shirt, not as a sick joke.
Okay.
I'm glad you questioned me.
No,
hey,
but I don't know what that means.
CIA.
What is OSS again?
They already had the CIA that was OSS. Office of Special Plans.
That was before the CIA. And then the CIA came up.
The CIA is OSS?
That's all on record.
5. P. Diddy Conspiracy. In episode 2227, Joe Rogan and Adrian Lucci tackle a bizarre, darkly humorous discussion about conspiracy theories connecting the Clintons, P. Diddy's infamous parties, and pedophile rings. Rogan jokes about Epstein waiting for the Clintons to slay him in prison and wonders if there's overlap between Epstein's Black Book and Diddy's notorious freak-off parties. Adrian quips about Diddy's all-white dress code being the worst choice for messy party antics, leading to laughs about the absurdity of the situation. Things turn grim as Rogan mentions accusations involving young singers, including shocking allegations tied to Justin Bieber. Adrian admits fears of lawsuits, but Rogan reassures her with a laugh they want this stuff way on the DL.
P. Diddy is in prison waiting for the Clintons to just kill him.
The P. Diddy thing sounds like just complete unchecked depravity.
He's at least bi.
P. Diddy had big parties, but I never
Right.
heard of freak-offs or any. I never heard of that stuff.
Because he always had the white parties where you have to wear all white, and I just feel like that's the worst color for body fluid.
There's so many horrific accusations, though, involving young singers, young children.
That person's already gotten it. That person's already covered in disgusting stuff. I'm sure the Clintons were there at some point.
Maybe Bill.
Bill is so nice.
I went one time. Was he?
He makes R. Kelly look like a decent guy.
Yeah, hanging out with Oprah, hanging out with Obama.
Jay-Z,
Everybody.
6. Maui Fires Conspiracy. In episode 2124, Joe Rogan, DAV, and Ian Fidens explore the Maui fire conspiracies and the government's inadequate response. They discuss exposed power lines, poor water allocation, and Maui's windy conditions as factors in the disaster. Rogan delves into wild theories about directed energy weapons, claiming blue roofs could reflect these lasers, fueled by viral TikTok clips showing lasers sparing blue fabrics. However, the real scandal, Rogan notes, is the lack of government aid. Many victims can't rebuild, access insurance, or stop paying mortgages on destroyed homes, potentially leading to land grabs by developers. Rogan sums it up: the real conspiracy is systemic neglect.
As soon as things get hot and everything turns brown and it stops raining, that's when fire season happens. A lot of it is people that are camping, homeless people start
and
fires.
gender reveals.
Yeah,
You know, that's funny. Like,
Because the Maui was power lines downed.
Oh, that's
Power
what it
lines.
was. They never
It's
had
non-existent.
anything like that happen there.
Yeah, but there was also a lot of problems. Like the people didn't want to release the water. The crazy conspiracy is the direct energy weapons conspiracy. People think
What?
that that seems insane. Like every time those things fall down and you didn't clean up any of the brush around it.
Wasn't the conspiracy that they were trying to get it out of there so they could sell the land?
Yeah. And I know that these are things that they're working on. I know these are things that are probably top secret. The government has the ability of having these things that they call direct energy weapons. So it's almost like a laser beam. They lit those houses on fire on purpose with direct energy weapons. He's talking about how some houses survived because they had the right roof. And everybody's like, see?
7. CIA Secret Tech. In episode 1327, Joe Rogan and former CIA agent Mike Baker uncover chilling government secrets. Baker reveals shadowy agencies withholding cutting-edge tech from public use, instead issuing outdated gear to maintain secrecy. He describes advanced surveillance systems capable of identifying targets in no-light conditions using biometric data like heart rates. Baker also highlights the military's work on universal soldier technology, including exoskeletons and real-time health monitoring. Rogan connects this to Neuralink, noting its potential for merging humans with machines. Baker, however, warns against overloading soldiers with data, hinting at further classified projects. Ultimately, the conversation underscores how much the public remains unaware of.
Files won't be released under the Freedom of Information Act until 2080.
I guess I'm talking about it now. I'm not supposed to. But we're looking at, we're not releasing any sources and methods. We're not disclosing any classified secrets. Military, government organizations that are typically in the shadows. Right? And so this does look at, this show will be looking at some historic, but a lot of current things that are going on. And you'll be walking around with like a phone the size of a brick, knowing that they've got something high speed on the shelf. It's pretty real.
Have you seen some stuff that made you go, holy shit?
They'll develop it, and they'll show it to you before an operation, but then they'll put it back on the shelf because they don't want that shit getting out there, right? And people finding out that they've got it.
Technology in the government. There was like, dude, the stuff they have that they probably don't tell us about. How much of that is real?
Yeah. Yes.
They can do that?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. And
how much can you tell us?
One of the things that they've been working on is with enough of that to sift through, they're getting to the point now with no light conditions that they can identify positively the targets in that room.
8. Portal to Alien World. In episode 1255, Joe Rogan and Alex Jones dive into the wild theory that the government is using DMT to communicate with interdimensional beings. Jones claims top-secret agencies send astronauts and high-ranking officials on extreme psychedelic trips to negotiate intergalactic deals. Rogan explores whether DMT opens a chemical doorway to other dimensions, potentially linking it to a near-demise experience and the afterlife. Jones asserts the government has long experimented with psychedelics like DMT and ayahuasca, citing historical programs like MKUltra and claims of CIA-backed studies on altered consciousness. Both discuss shared DMT experiences, such as meeting machine elves, suggesting a consistent otherworldly phenomenon. The conversation questions reality's limits and government secrecy.
In this incredibly diverse universe, with all these dimensions above and below and all around us, who are psychically, genetically available to interface, no energy is ever destroyed. It all continues on, from the Tibetans to the Mesoamericans to the Egyptians to the Druids to every ancient society describes the same thing. All these people, it's why we're able to look into so many things and have so many different experiences. And there are good things, but they don't contact you unless you contact them. There are bad things that look like elves that have horns when they show you who they really are. When I read all these books about World War II and the Nazis and Hitler obsessed with the Dalai Lama and the Tibetans and what they were able to do without drugs to interface with this. They do rituals and take drugs to talk to the goddesses. Well, they're just appearing as, sexy, beautiful women. And the devil masquerades as an angel of light. So we're on this planet, the third dimension, which is a launch pad to all the other dimensions below and above. Evil's willing to come in, and what does it say? Demoralize, get rid of children, don't have kids, humans are bad, we'll be better once you're all gone. They were basically seancing and being possessed by entities. And it was all about their power and how great they were going to be. And the Germans were seduced. But the Germans are just as robotic. So this entity system picked Germans and offering them technologies, but two different paths.